This happened a few years ago when I was still in high school. I used to stay late at the gym after class, and since I didn't have my license yet, I always relied on the bus to get home. One particular evening, I had just missed my usual bus. It was late, and the next one wouldn't come for a while. My parents were out, and taking a taxi was out of the question. I didn't have that kind of money, so I decided to wait it out at the bus shelter. The air was freezing. A light drizzle had started turning into sleet, tapping against the glass walls of the shelter. I pulled out my phone, popped in my earphones, and tried to pass the time with music. Minutes stretched into nearly an hour, and not a single car or person had passed by. That's when I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. A man was walking down the empty street, bundled in a heavy coat, his hood pulled low. His steps were slow and uneven, almost like he was dragging one leg. Something about him made my stomach tighten. I quickly looked away, pretending to scroll through my phone. The man entered the shelter and sat at the far end, his gaze fixed directly on me. His eyes were glazed over, and his face looked pale and tired. I couldn't tell if he was drunk, high, or just unwell, but something about him was deeply unsettling. After a long silence, he finally spoke. "Do you know when the bus is coming?" I slipped out one earbud and answered, "It's probably delayed because of the weather." He didn't respond. He just stared for a while, then began mumbling under his breath, words I couldn't make out. My pulse quickened. I hunched over my phone, pretending to type, hoping he'd lose interest. But a few minutes later, I sensed it. He had moved closer. I turned my head slightly. He was only a few feet away now. I shifted uncomfortably, trying to put space between us, but he slid even nearer, the sound of his coat scraping against the bench. "You okay?" I asked, my voice unsteady. He leaned toward me, his eyes glassy, lifting an arm as if to reach out. That was enough. I grabbed my bag, bolted from the shelter, and sprinted down the icy sidewalk. I didn't stop until I reached the next bus stop. I turned around, breathing hard. The man was nowhere in sight. Relieved, I sat down, resting my head against the glass wall as I waited. Then, knock, knock, knock. I froze. Slowly, I turned my head. He was there. The same man staring at me through the glass with a wide, unblinking grin. My heart jumped into my throat. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I shouted, backing up. He started circling the shelter, dragging his hand along the glass as he came around the side. "I'm warning you, stay back," I yelled, my voice cracking. I wanted to run, but in my panic, I realized I had dropped my bag back inside the shelter. I couldn't just leave it behind. Before I could think, he lunged at me. I stumbled aside and he crashed to the ground face first. The impact was sickening. Blood pooled beneath him as he lay motionless. I stood frozen in shock. When I finally knelt down to check, he wasn't responding. My hands trembled as I called the police. When they arrived, the paramedics confirmed he was alive but heavily medicated. The officers went through his wallet and found a photo, him with a young boy. And the boy looked almost exactly like me. The police explained that the man had lost custody of his son recently. Since then, he had spiraled out of control, numbing himself with pills. They believed that, in his confused state, he thought I was his missing child. He was taken away for treatment, and that was the last time I ever saw him. Not long after, I finally got my license, and since that night, I've never ridden the bus again.